Welcome to the Profitable Cleaner Podcast. Join your hosts, James Harper and Angel Sandoval, bringing you the experts, discussions, and knowledge you want. We talk about sales, technology, marketing, operations, strategy, leadership, mindset, health, God, and so much more. Now, are you ready to profit?
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner Podcast. I'm at ISSA 2023 here in Las Vegas. I'm here with my man, Joe. Is it Pereira? I'm James, man.
Joe, nice to meet you, man.
Good to meet you. So, Joe, you were brought over here from Douglas, my guy Douglas.
Correct.
And he said, hey, you don't want to talk to me about being on a podcast. You got to talk to our founder. He's on podcast. Joe, let's just start with your story, man. What brought you into, not ISSA, but the facility maintenance industry?
Yeah, I mean, my story is, I think, pretty typical. My parents were immigrants, came over to the United States. Cleaning was, something that was easy for them to do without, having a lot of education. And so I've been cleaning since I was, 7 years old because my parents didn't believe in child labor laws. You know what I mean? So
nice.
I've just been a part of the industry by virtue of, what they decided to do. And then eventually tried to make my own way in the world, went to college, got a degree, did the whole thing. Turned around, looked at my parents and said, wow, they've actually really created something impressive, for being immigrants who didn't even know how to speak the language. And so it piqued my interest, and then I started to get more into it, and 15 years later, here I am.
Nice, man. Okay, so you're a lifer.
Yes, I am, absolutely.
You're a lifer, ultimately. It seems like everyone in this industry always gets pulled back when they try to get out, and no one just raises their hand and say yeah, I want to be in janitorial, facility maintenance, growing up. Tell me right now in 2023, what's the one thing that keeps you here? Is it the people? Is it your clients? Tell me what's your passion for this industry?
To be honest with you, I think the passion is derived from understanding the value that you provide to the communities that you're a part of. Everybody considered janitorial to be such a necessity in the middle of COVID.
Yep.
Prior to that, there was no glitz, no glamour. Since then, it's faded from the days of COVID, but I think it's a lot more respected than it used to be. The thing that keeps me here is, I've got 3 kids under 6 years old. When they go to a park and the bathroom is dirty, that is bad for everybody. If I can help prevent that situation by, being a contractor who gets these kinds of accounts and actually keeps their word, does the work, and cares about maintaining the cleanliness and the safety of those places, my kids are better for it.
I love that. So I want to talk to me about your team. What's your team setup? Are you guys sub-built out? Do you guys have your own employees? What's your setup like?
We are a team of about 110 right now.
Nice.
We are all W-2 employees. We will use subcontractors for specific tasks that are outside of our purview, but I mean that's probably less than 5% of our labor on an annual basis. Everybody is a team member of ours. The majority of our team members are field technicians who work actually producing the actual services that we're providing, and we've got about 10 or so office people and 5 managers. For the most part, the company is all W-2 technicians hitting the grind.
Love it, man. So what's your biggest takeaway leading a team of 100 plus people? If you were to talk to another facility maintenance person on the other side listening, let's say they're at 20 employees, they're quickly on their way to 100, what would your top 3 or just key leadership points be for someone in that position?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when I was at 20, 30 employees, the thing that I wish somebody would have told me that I know now is not only can you not do everything yourself, you have to trust others and give them the responsibility to do things on their own. It's going to free you up, but so often I see business owners who are stuck in that I have to be a part of everything. My finger's got to be on the pulse. Nobody cares about the business as much as I do. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learned in the last couple of years.
Well said.
Everybody who wants to be there is there because they care about the business. Give them a chance to take ownership and relieve yourself of that pressure. So I think that'd be takeaway number 1 for that guy or gal who's struggling, to break the barrier to go beyond 20. Outside of that is, the biggest challenge in, I think, facility maintenance when you get to the 100-person level is managing employees is difficult. a lot of those employees work remotely. You don't get to interact with them on a regular basis. They feel disconnected in a lot of ways. And when somebody feels disconnected, eventually their motivation will go down. You've got to find ways to engage your team members, right? You've got to find a way to engage them. Now, that doesn't mean that they've got to come to your facility every week for a barbecue or anything like that, but there are so many other, clever ways that you can make them feel like they're a part of a team. The minute they stop feeling like they're a part of a team, you run the risk of losing them.
So let's retract a little bit, because I want to dive in on engagement. Okay, at what level would you say that someone should start investing in leadership training or maybe culture training? Do you guys do any of that? 100 plus people, you have to be intentional with engagement.
Yes, we do leadership training. I actually do our leadership training through a business coaching program that I'm a part of. I've been a part of it for 8 years.
Nice.
They offer leadership training to our key team members, so we take advantage of that, and that means our leadership team will go off site. We will travel sometimes, whether it be traveling to Florida or traveling to San Diego, once, twice a year, and we will make it an effort not to talk about the mundane and the minutia at that point, but really, what does the future look like? How are we developing our teams? What does your personal career path look like? And honestly, I think if I could do it again, I would have started it much earlier. I started leadership training when I had about 3 or 4 managers, and I started to see, oh no, I've really got to develop the managers. It's so easy to think, oh, I hired a manager, I'm paying them a lot of money, they're just going to take care of everything. That's not how it works. I would have started my own leadership development a lot sooner than I did, and focused on it and made it a key element of the things that I do on a regular basis. And then, starting leadership training with not necessarily only managers, but key team members. If you've got somebody that's part of your workforce that's really showing dedication, that's giving you a reason to think that they may be able to take on more one day, you start that leadership right then and there with them. That's what I would say. And there's a lot of ways to do it. You don't have to go pay for somebody to do leadership training. You can literally just have them be a part of higher level meetings that you may sometimes, as an owner of only 20 people, have with yourself. Bring them in. That's leadership training, when you bring them in and expose them to some of the elements of the business that you think only you are thinking about.
I love that, man. Last 3 questions for you here. Okay, so you said you would start your leadership development early on, and I love that, because I think the best leaders are learners. What do you do now to develop yourself as a leader, and what are the next steps for the company?
So, the obvious answer on how do you develop your leadership is reading, which is something that I try to commit to. Not always great at it, but I do try to commit. But I think the most valuable leadership training that I've done is twofold. One, I have trained myself to never shy away from what I call a difficult conversation. And every time I do that, I think that there's some leadership training in each one of those conversations, right? As long as you take the time to reflect on it. How could I have done that better? Did I deliver this message properly? That's leadership training, when you're doing that and you're reflecting on it. The other thing, though, is networking with professionals either in the industry or in other industries that are similar. Mastermind groups with plumbers, electricians, roofers. These are people that go through the same challenges, right? How do we price a project properly? How do we hire and retain our people? They will also have some of the similar challenges. That networking engagement, in my opinion, is leadership training. You are learning things from people that you didn't already know, and therefore becoming better for it. And then lastly, for me personally, I like the fact that I have a business coach. Some of the best athletes in the world still have independent coaches, right? So for me, I think it's important. My coach, can hold me accountable, let me know when I might be, going in the wrong direction, and provide that extra sounding board when I just have a question about, the confidence around a decision that I'm going to make. So I'd say those 3 things are probably key for me.
I think that's huge, man. So tell me, what are the next steps for Integrity?
So Integrity right now...
What's the vision?
Well, the vision is... Recently, we have been engaging in a lot of different services. The economy being what it has been in Northern California, it's a very competitive market for janitorial. So we've started to provide different services, and we're investing a lot of our time and money on training in these new processes. So what's next for the company is making a decision on, are we going to focus in on one key service that we provide, and that's what we're going to march forward to, or are we going to expand the service repertoire, for lack of a better term, to start including some more diverse services? That's not a decision I'm going to make on my own. It's a decision that's going to be made amongst my team members, and I think that's going to dictate what happens, going forward. But I think the biggest thing in 2024 is we need to grow our sales team. It's probably the one pillar of the organization where the least amount of focus has been spent over the last 3 years because of all the changes that came with COVID. We grew rapidly during COVID, then there was a recession in that growth, and so we've really just kind of been getting the house back in order. We've got the house back in order, foundation strong, kick that sales up, know what you're going after, deliver a strong, solid message, and get after it.
I love it, man. All right, so we do this thing on the show. We call it question roulette.
Okay.
I pull out a random question. Once we ask it on the show, it never gets asked again. Are you willing to play?
Sure, let's do it.
Replay, or give me a synopsis, I should say, your last podcast episode that you listened to.
Last podcast episode that I listened to. Oh boy, I don't think I remember the last podcast episode.
Or maybe give me the last book you read. Give me something that one of these listeners could latch on to.
So the book I'm reading right now is Measure What Matters.
I love that.
Okay, so I'd say kind of a synopsis is, what I like about it is it makes you kind of think about and focus on, what am I actually measuring in certain circumstances, and does that matter, right?
Yeah.
Titles in the book. But to expand on that, what that means is, you could be measuring how much time a cleaner spends doing any particular location, and that might be a great KPI for you in that location. But that may not be the only thing that the customer is paying for. There may be additional value where if you get upset because somebody spent an extra half hour, but they've gone above and beyond, the customer comes back and says, wow, you did such a great job here. Can we give you a work order to duplicate this across other places, right? So that focusing on what matters, because you might get it wrong sometimes. You might think something's important because somebody else told you that's what you should be measuring. Do what's right for your business. Measure what matters in your business, not just because somebody else told you, right? I think the biggest lack of creativity in our industry is, our P&L should be divided into COGS, overhead, profit, and we should be at this percentage, that percentage, this percentage. Maybe not in your area. Maybe California and Texas are different. Maybe not in the customers that you service. Measure what matters for you, not because somebody told you that's what matters.
Man, I absolutely love this. Where can people find you if they're looking for you, if they heard from you today and they're like, man, I got to follow this guy? Are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, I am on LinkedIn, Joe Pereira. We operate out of Northern California in the Sacramento area. Our website is integritymsc.com. It's got our office number there. I don't think it has my email there, but I'll think about it. But if you call my office and ask for Joe, I'm one of those guys. If I don't answer right away, I'll get back to you.
Joe, our producer, will link everything up. Man, brother, I can't thank you enough for
Absolutely.
being on today's show.
Absolutely.
And awesome, man. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner Podcast. I'm at ISSA Live. I'm here with Sean with CleanTech. Sean, you're from Canada. You've
Yes,
been in
sir.
the business for 30 years.
Yes, sir.
And you were willing to talk shop with me here for the next few minutes. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about CleanTech.
Okay, CleanTech is based out of Vancouver, Canada. And I started as a young lad. Started as primarily a window cleaning business. Used to go door to door to houses and just knock on the door and try and clean people's windows. And then I tried other business ventures and nothing seemed to work, so I went back into it, started cleaning more windows, got some larger window jobs. So in 1989 I formed a company, and then in 1996 I had the opportunity to clean a couple buildings. So I took on a couple little cleaning contracts, and I liked them better because they were monthly contracts. It wasn't as seasonal. So I started going more after the janitorial contracts, and I then combined my window cleaning and my janitorial into one business, and just kept going from there, kept growing it, kept chasing monthly contracts. Half of our business is multi-unit residential, and then we do a bunch of other types of buildings and properties. We don't do any single-family homes at all. It's mostly larger work.
How big is your team currently?
We have close to 250, 300 cleaning staff. Some are full-time, some are part-time, and we have about 22 people that don't clean, like sales and HR and admin, operations people.
Someone at your level and your scale, obviously you started small and you've grown to 200 plus people. What do you do now with the current status of your company to keep 200 people engaged, keep them on the same page, keep quality control there? Just talk to us about managing a team that size at that scale.
Yeah, so we do have full-time operations people, and their job is to inspect the buildings, and depending on, we have classified our buildings as different priorities. Some of them require more frequent inspections than others, and we do find inspections is the number one thing to make sure people are actually doing their job and showing up on time. And then, listening to the clients as well, seeing if they have complaints. Obviously we got to address them, but we do try and find the problems before the client does. Is always the best way. And we are actually in the midst of getting involved in some software that's going to really improve our ability to inspect buildings with, adding photos and giving reports to customers and giving reports to our staff as well on how they're performing.
How would you say the Canadian market's different from the U.S. market?
It's a bit of a tough one. I don't know enough about the U.S. market. I don't really know. Yeah. That's kind of why I'm down here, I guess, is to learn a little bit about the U.S. market. The Americans often do things better, so we can learn a lot as Canadians. We kind of figure things out on our own, but down here there's a lot of smart people in the industry. I think most of my Canadian competitors are people like me that just started a small business and it grew. There is a few big players that have kind of gone and swallowed up other companies, and they've kind of done quite well, but most of our competitors are smaller, family-run type businesses as well. So, but down here you have some national players. It's a bit of a different deal down here.
Where do your guys' sales come from right now? Obviously you have 30 years in the industry, so I'm sure there's some just natural referral and organic growth. Yeah. You said you have some sales staff?
Yeah, we have a few salespeople. So we have one girl that's on the phone predominantly looking for leads, and then we have another girl who's more of our outside person developing relationships and that, and then we do have somebody that kind of oversees the two of them. And a lot of it is cultivating existing clients, but we also are always trying to chase new stuff as well, and developing relationships. We're getting into some different areas that are quite exciting for us. There's big pipelines being built, and we're getting involved in some cleaning of the construction sites of those, and we do new construction as well now. So brand new buildings that are built, we'll clean them inside and out, and nice. Branch into some other services. You
said, I guess, two questions there. So the gal that does all the sales over the phone, is she virtual in a different country? Is she local to Canada?
She's local, but she does work from home. She likes to work from home a lot. So, and she uses pipe drive software, I guess, to keep in touch with everything and chase her leads. And she's quite effective with it. She gets a lot of opportunities with doing that.
You got a good thing going on. So what we see is a really good tandem when you have someone over the phone working with an in-person salesperson and kind of build that tag team approach.
Yeah.
Question for you. So you had said before we hit record here, hey, after 30 years, I'm pretty hands-off on my business, not in the day-to-day. I think a lot of business owners want to start working on their business versus in their business. It sounds like you've done that. Talk to me about the trajectory of getting to that level.
Yeah, I read some business books and they talk about it and doing it. It's a big step. It's difficult because often in the beginning you're the best at doing everything, so you can't trust people to do it. But I did have to put people in positions and let them fail a bit and let them figure things out on their own. But I always did want to kind of raise my family and travel and do other things. So I knew I wanted to build my business, but I didn't want to be an 80-hour-a-week guy where I'm just have no life. So I did manage to find good people to help me run the business and give them positions of authority. And over time it worked. You have to go through a few guys to find the right one. But now I got sort of a management team. I got 3 people that work together, like a sales manager, an operations manager, and accounting manager, and the 3 of them kind of meet regularly and they run the business, and I have them on a profit share based on the performance of the business, and because then that allows me to keep them engaged while I'm not on site, because I'm also a snowbird, so I'm not in the country for 6 months because it can get a little cold in Canada in some months. So
so who's your hockey team?
I live in Vancouver. Always been the Canucks, I guess, but
nice.
But I actually watch NFL more than I watch hockey.
Okay, so. Who's your NFL team?
Well, the Seahawks. They're our neighbor.
There you go. Awesome, man. So for those of people listening that like what they heard, they want to learn more about either yourself or your company, where should they go to find you? We'll link everything up in the show notes.
Yeah, our website is cleantechsg.com, so Cleantech Service Group, and they can always reach us through there. We have some email addresses on that, and always be happy to answer questions or, if people have anything they want.
Awesome. Sean, thank you so much for being on the Profitable Cleaner, man.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Jasmine, what does me the great pleasure. For people that don't know you that are listening, welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. This is live at ISSA. Tell people who you are, your company, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
Okay, my name is Jasmine Zhao, Juniper Cleaning, Orange County, California, and I help keep buildings clean.
You help keep buildings clean. How long have you been in business, and what brought you to Vegas today?
We've been in with this reiteration of the company about 10 years, and I'm just looking forward to learning, looking at new products, looking at how to improve our business.
So you and I kind of have a history now, is that safe to say? Like we
Yes.
met like
Yes.
a few years ago, met through a mutual connection. You have a really interesting team. So you have people virtually,
Yes.
you have people in person, obviously. Give a shout out to your team. Talk to us about the makeup of your company and just the people that make Juniper Cleaning.
Well, we have two wonderful people provided by Dave Porter from Nicaragua, Luis and Piera, who are wonderful. We also have two virtual assistants from Mexico, Hector and Ivan. And then we're family owned, so we have Dulce, who's my sister, and Juan, and my father, who's still involved in the business, also named Juan, and that's and Jeanette, who's our HR person. That's our administrative team.
What's your leadership style? I've interacted with you. You're very intellectual. You're very systems driven. How would you describe your leadership style, and how does that reflect within your company?
I think the main thing is a focus on continuous improvement and constantly trying to learn, constantly trying to look at what is the better way of doing things today. It doesn't mean that is the better way of doing things tomorrow. It's looking at it as this is what we have now and how do we make it better tomorrow, constantly.
So you have an interesting, I love that one, because I think leaders are learners, but you have an interesting dynamic because you do business with your sister,
Yes.
ultimately. And I know a lot of people that listen to the show, their partners are their husband or wife, or maybe it's an in-law, a sibling. Talk to me about the relational dynamic with doing business with your sister. What are the pros and what are the cons?
I would say the major con would be that sometimes we're talking about work, family dinners, Christmas, Thanksgiving, work comes up somehow. And I think the pros is just knowing that this is a person that you could fully trust, and I know that we both have the same, and my brother as well, we have the same goal in mind, which is to grow the company, provide good services, and be a good employer.
Okay, and then if there is a conflict of interest, because this is business, does that ever get to the personal world of you and your sister, or do you guys leave that kind of at the office?
We try our very, very best to leave things at the office, but we also invest in training and how to develop our emotional intelligence, how to resolve conflict. So we put time and effort into learning those skills to allow us to work together more efficiently.
I want everyone to kind of take note of what she just said. You invest in emotional intelligence, you invest in all these other trainings. I think people, they see the BSC space and they're like, oh, we have to train on operations. Yeah, of course, we can clean a building better. We have to train on recruiting, but it's real leaders lead, and that starts with them as an individual.
Yes.
So my question to you is, how do you continually develop Jasmine? How do you continually develop you?
Well, constantly actually. So I surround myself with people that know more than I do. That's the first thing. People that are more successful than I do, and I learn from them. I pay attention, and most of all, you try to be humble. Know that you don't know everything, and that there is always something new to learn.
I love it. So anyone that's listening to this show knows we do two things. One, give a shout out to where people can learn more about your company or maybe learn about you on LinkedIn. And then 2, we play a game called Question Roulette where we ask a random question out of the box. Are you willing to play?
Sure.
All right, well, I get that ready. Tell people your website, your LinkedIn, and our producer will link it all in the show notes.
Okay. So, junipercleaning.com, Jasmine Zhao on LinkedIn, and Juniper Cleaning on Instagram. Pretty much our handle is Juniper Cleaning.
Juniper Cleaning, I can promise you guys too, they have a really good brand. If you guys go follow them, they are one of the few, and I'm going to say the cleaning space is getting better, but not everyone has branding like you guys have. So,
thank you.
All right, random question. This says, cool shit I'm using lately. So what's cool shit Jasmine's been using lately? It could be anything. It could be an app. It could be whatever.
Oh, that's hard. I mean, this must be like what everyone is cool shit that everyone's using, right? But I'm gonna say ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Okay, how are you using it?
Just a bunch of random stuff, right? But I love playing with it. I love tinkering with it and seeing what gives me the best solution. Going into ChatGPT, going into BART, going into the Microsoft one, Bing, and putting the same thing and see what gives me the best results. So
love it. Jasmine, thank you so very much for being on The Profitable Cleaner, and we will talk to you here soon.
Awesome. Thank you, James.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. I'm your host, James Harper, here with my man, Aaron Graham. You said like the graham cracker.
That's right.
Love it, man. COO of Picture Perfect Cleaning. Give me a little bit of background about you, Aaron. Obviously, Jared, the founder, is well known and well out there.
Yeah, he's around. Yeah,
he's around. So you're from Australia?
Yeah, I moved to Canada when I was 18.
Okay.
Volunteering in a summer camp for a little while there, and just enjoyed that thoroughly. You know, had no plans for my future at that point. I was just getting around, seeing the world. You know, traveled through Europe a bit, then went home, broke as can be. Got a job. I want to go back to Canada. I think. Stayed in Australia for a little while. Moved back to Canada in 2008. Then I met Jared 2010, and we started the business. I met him. 2008. We started the business in 2010, and on that day I realized, I guess I live in Canada now. This is it. I didn't really, consequences that were not clear to me at the time, and it was the right choice. Here we are, right? So for 17 years I've been living in Canada. Yeah.
17 years, and now you have a decade plus in the industry.
Yeah, we're 13 years into PPC. Yeah.
Talk to me about kind of the evolution, not of PPC, but your just knowledge, expectations, and standards of where you guys started, to where you're at now, and where you're going.
Yeah, right. It's changed a lot. I'm not sure if I can answer that too concisely, but when we first started, we didn't know what we were doing. We had no experience in cleaning. I guess I had more experience than Jared, only because I had once had a very temporary cleaning job for a gym that I swept the floors in a basketball gym. That's it, right? So we came into this without experience, but knowing that there's opportunity for a good service provider and people who treat their staff properly. It's unfortunate the people we see in the cleaning industry are not often taken care of by their bosses. So we saw that happening where we worked, and we went, that's not good. We should do something to change that. And there's a business opportunity here. So with no experience, we purposely didn't look at any other contractors and what they were doing, because we didn't want their bad habits to rub off on us. So we just went, this is how we're going to operate, this is how we're going to do it. And a lot of this is Jared's philosophy from day one, but it was very easy to adopt, right? Good people want to do good things. So on our hands and knees doing the work ourselves. That's why I'm confident in my position, because I know I did it once. I know how to ask other people to do it, and it is possible. I'm not asking too much.
Sure.
That's a fear, is that you should be able to do this. It's an easy job. It's not always, and so if I understand what they're going through to get the job done, I can confidently guide them on how to do it better or easier. And when I do ask them to do a hard job, I go, I know it's difficult. Sorry, I've done it myself, but here's how you do it, and just keep a smile on your face. You'll get through it.
There's some relatability there.
Yeah. So starting out that way, I'm not on the ground so much anymore. My job has changed considerably from that day, where we were working 8-hour days, cold calling, doing accounting, payroll, HR stuff, plus at night cleaning the sites ourselves.
because we weren't ready to hire, or we were in the middle of, transitioning between two people. One didn't work out, the next one's coming on next week, that kind of thing. Today, it's more, taking phone calls, guiding the ops managers that we hire. I build all the systems within the operations side, at least. My next goal, I was telling Jared earlier, I need to get into the sales side and learn how to fix those systems next. So I build all the systems out, make sure that the team's following them. They report back and say, there's something that doesn't work here, or, they report that there's a glitch or a problem. This isn't so smooth. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that this is something I can fix that. So then I sit down, and the next 10 days is me whacking through the weeds trying to figure that out. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm systems now, and just management of the team, keeping them on a good course. Yeah.
I love that. It sounds like you guys are really good, like 1-2 duo there.
Yeah, like his weaknesses are my strengths and vice versa.
Nice.
And yeah, we both have a ton of weaknesses that the other makes up for. It's a great partnership that way. Yeah.
That's exactly how it should be. And for those of you guys listening, we're live in Las Vegas at ISSA 2023. I guess 2 questions for you here, Aaron.
Yeah.
One thing so far since being at ISSA that maybe you've learned or has been a surprise to you when it comes to the industry. And then number 2, I'd like to learn a little bit more about your team and the intentionality you guys put into your leadership, team building. You guys have a lot of stuff out there, it looks like. So I'll kind of pass it over to you. I'd love to hear about ISSA and then more about your team.
It's a younger crowd than I expected. I don't know what I was basing my expectations off. I was expecting a lot of old men, and it's good. Like the next generation is here, and they obviously care about what they're doing, so they're trying to learn. I haven't done enough learning while I'm here, which I'll make up for today and tomorrow. But there's so much going on. It's kind of overwhelming. I've never been to one of these before, so I didn't really know what to expect. Trade shows in Vegas are a different thing compared to ones I've been to elsewhere, right? So, but yeah, young crowd. I think that's really good. I think that these kinds of events are important for people to get on the same page with what is available out there. The industry doesn't make itself known unless you show up. So I'm glad we're here for that reason. What was your second question? Intentionality?
Question, about your team. I see that you guys do a lot of team activities, team bonding, and I think that's really overlooked in the industry.
Yeah, I feel like we don't do enough of that, but I'm glad you said that. That makes me feel better. We have sort of a charitable intention to get people to give back. Like I said earlier, the people that work for us are not always well cared for by their bosses prior to coming to us, and hopefully we make that better for them.
Sure.
But in order to show that we care about our people, we need to actually follow through on that. So one way we do that is by volunteering as a team at a homeless shelter, or we've done gift baskets for kids around Christmas time, where we go. There's a charity that operates, and we go in and we pack the gift baskets up and get them ready. And that's really powerful for the team to do that together. For one, they feel good. It's a natural, like everyone feels good for doing it. But then we gave them the opportunity to do it, because you're not really going to organize that yourself with you and your 10 friends. But if your boss says, hey, we're going to go volunteer, are you available? All of a sudden we've got 20 people that want to give. And it's not that they don't have money to give, but they definitely have time and love to give. And we try to give them that opportunity. So that's one thing. With the management specifically, we get together every week for meetings and stuff like that, and sit around, and whether it's online or in person, give everyone an opportunity to sort of vibe on each other. It's pretty fun. But yeah, and we have intentions, although we don't follow through often enough, and this is where I say we should be doing more with getting together as a team socially. That's hard. Like, work gets in the way, and my priorities are like, I got to get this done because I got, I got to walk the dog, I got to, fix the house, stuff I got to do, right? And but I should be prioritizing that social side a bit more with the team, and I think that they would respond to that really well. They have in the past, which is how I know we need to do more of it. Yeah.
Aaron, you guys are a hell of a company, man.
Thanks.
This was a heck of a podcast. We'll have to do this officially, man.
Well, mate, If this isn't official, nothing is. We're right here in person. This is great. Yeah.
I appreciate it, brother. Enjoy ISSA.
Cheers, man. Yeah. See you again.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner Podcast. I'm your host, James Harper, and we are live at ISSA 2023. I'm with my man Tony with Impact Cleaning Professionals. What's up, man?
What's going on, James? How you doing, brother?
Good, man. So for those of you guys listening that don't know Tony, you should know Tony, because, man, he's just a humble man, a leader, He's one of our guys that comes out to our event here in Denver 2 years in a row. For those of you that don't know you, Antonio, give us just like the quick story of you, your company, and how you got here, brother.
Yeah, man. So my name's Tony. I'm from Polk County, Florida. We're right in the middle of Florida, right between Tampa and Orlando. We started our business 2019, just kind of on a whim, really. Like, got tired of going to work. Still kept going to work, but was just really getting tired of that. Wanted to jump into something on my own. So kind of came up with this crazy idea in Denver, actually. We were up there for a buddy's wedding.
That's funny.
And came up with the idea for Impact Cleaning Solutions, which what it was going to be at the time. But the name was taken when we went to register. So my business partner, he's here somewhere walking around with me. He jumped into the business about a month after I got started. So, we've all been best friends for about 20 years now. And kicking out my crazy ideas to him and said, hey, bro, like, I'm a little short. I need to buy some equipment and stuff. And he asked me, he said, bro, you want a partner or you want a loan? And I was like, well, if you want to get on this crazy, bus with me, come on, let's do it. And that's how we ended up in the business together. Grew fairly quickly those first couple years, just out of sheer instinct and grind. And now we're just starting to kind of smooth things out, getting our operations really tight, getting some actual processes instead of just willing our way through these accounts. And it's been good, man. Been learning a lot. I try to stay active in the events in the different communities and stuff. And this was the first event that I came to. Well, one of the first events that I came to back in 2021, and it's been all up, man. It's been all good.
Man, I love it. I think real leaders are learners, and
Yes.
I know that you're a learner for sure. We were talking last night about how instinct is a talent, right? So talk to me as a business owner, how you kind of base instinct versus logic versus we should do that versus maybe that's not a good idea.
Well, man, really a lot of it has to do with just me listening. I'm a man of faith, man, and just me really listening to when the Holy Spirit is pulling me in that direction. Like some people say it's a gut feeling, but I attribute it to the Holy Spirit just guiding me in the directions that I should go. And sometimes being a visionary, you get a little in 2035 versus 2023, and that's where the balance with me and my partner is really good. He handles marketing and finance, so he's more of a black and white, this is our reality right now, this is what we can do, and I'm more of the let's stretch a little bit, we can make this happen, because I'm still getting a push to go in that direction. So it's instinct a lot, just figuring stuff out along the way, just going and moving and trying to make something happen. But it also helps because my partner, he's not so impulsive or instinctual when it comes to some of the business things. Actually, okay, this is the process. If you're truly serious about wanting to go this way, this is how we have to do it. And so it helps a lot, man.
I like that, man. I want to talk about partnerships for a minute. I don't think it's talked about enough. Obviously, a lot of people listening, they have a partner, maybe they'll take on a future partner. How do you guys manage your partnership in terms of how do you guys keep your cool? How do you guys manage disagreements? How do you guys stay aligned? Just talk me through that.
Well, man, we went to war together. We were both wrestlers. That's where we met at, in the wrestling room. So we've seen each other at our best, at our worst. We know that we know the kind of people that we are. As far as determination, grind, will, all those, that's something that we never have to question from the other person. And it looks a little different because he works a full-time job as well. He works 50 hours a week, and then he helps here. So sometimes people on the outside looking in, it looks like, well, Tony, you doing all of this work and blah, 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 and your partner's not doing it. And I always shut that down immediately, because not only do I want people to think that from the outside looking in and discount what he really does, but I also don't like to let that slip in to me, when I'm having those days where I'm out all day long, and grinding and things like that. And, I don't ever want it to slip in, man, he should be out here with me, because that wasn't our agreement. From the beginning, we made our agreement on how we were going to do things, and we stay in our lanes. So with marketing, anytime I'm trying to give input on marketing, we don't mind being bro, I got this.
Yeah.
Like you know, when I'm doing sales and operations, like if he has input, I listen, but it's also like I got this.
Yeah.
Like you know, so we're able to stay in our lanes, and we're like brothers, man. So disagreements, they happen like brothers. So you know, if we upset or something like that, it's no pulling the punches. I'm gonna let you know like how I feel, but then we take a deep breath, shake it off, you know, and we right back to doing what we do. So it's never one of those, bro, I hate you, I need to, you know, I want to buy you out and all that stuff. No, we know the goal that we're working on overall for our families and what we want to provide, and we just make sure that we use our strengths as best we can to keep pushing that forward.
I love that, man. I think anyone listening right now, one thing that I'm hearing is like alignment.
Yes.
And your partnership is very similar to mine with like Angel, right? He's got some other stuff going on. You're like, we have various businesses, but we're always aligned. And I always I have to develop an appreciation for my partner.
Yes. Because
then when outside voices come in, it can't even shake you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And we always say measure impact versus time. And it sounds like you guys, you know, well, impact cleaning, that's kind of funny, man. But you guys know each other's impact, man. I want to ask you 2 last questions here, man.
Okay.
Out of ISSA, everything you've seen so far, what's been something that's jumped out to you, man, about maybe a product or something about the industry?
And it's really the same vibes for me, man. Like this industry has the best people.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how, and it's not to discount what anyone else is doing, but man, I love this industry. Like I love the people that I get to meet, the information that people just share so freely. Like you know, just being able to talk and rub shoulders with companies that are literally 100 times the size of mine, and being able to rub shoulders with them and get that information. And so it's really that, like that's one of the staples that always, you know, sticks out, especially at this one because there's so many people here. So like, you know, you see logos of businesses that maybe you've seen on online or something like that. And you see somebody walking around with the logo, and you just go grab them. Hey, you know, can I talk to you for a little bit? Like I see what y'all are doing, and I would like to know a little bit more.
That's actually a good point, man. There's not a lot of industries where you can have like direct, pretty easy access to the top dogs.
Yep.
And then those top dogs are what I found so like humble and willing just to like give back.
Yep.
In terms of time and information and all that. I think that's a good point, man.
It's an improvement and uplifting of the entire industry.
Yes.
So like I try to, in my area, because not a lot of people move around, so I try to let them know, hey, listen, we got to start learning more about the industry so that we can all submit better bids. We can all do better business, because then it raises the floor.
Absolutely.
Like everybody tries to like race to the floor to, you know, bid the lowest. I just want to win this account. But then now you're trying to figure out why you've been doing this for 20 years and you still haven't even broke 6 figures. And you've just built a job for yourself and your wife, or yourself and your kids, or whatever. And I just think it's time to start pushing past that, like on every level.
No doubt, man. So I could talk to Tony all day, guys. And if you guys don't know who he is, we're gonna link up their Instagram, your LinkedIn in the show notes below. Definitely go give them a follow and give him a shout out. I always love every time I see you come to our events, man, because I know the type of energy you bring. We always ask a question roulette, man.
All right.
We pull a random question out of a box. We don't know what it is. Once it's asked, we never ask it again. Share one thing that's on your bucket list for 2024, man.
One thing that's on my bucket list for 2024, sheesh.
Or maybe just in general.
Just in general, man. I don't know, man. Like we really still chasing that million. Like we right there, and it's like every time we get there, it's like take a step back. But we always, when we take that step back, we always are able to fix some stuff and come back stronger and do it a little bit better. So, like really, man, we still our goal is by the end of 2024, you know, that's going to be our $1 million mark, and you know, we wanted to make sure that we were at $1 million by 5 years, and 5 years will be next year. So
you said 5. Last night you said 5 to survive.
Oh, 5, survive for 5, then thrive for 5. So that first 10 years, like
I love it, man.
make it to that 5-year mark, and then after that 5-year mark, you should have your footing a little better. Like, you know, made quite a few mistakes. You know, if you were failing fast enough, because that's been our thing. Just go ahead and fail quick. Get that out the way, and then so you know the next 5 years should be, you know, thriving and really, you know, getting our footing and getting into our groove. So
Yeah, love it, man. Thank you, Tony.
hey man, I appreciate you guys. Y'all are always good, man. Thank you.
A ver, dinos introdúcete, quién eres, dónde están tus compañías, dinos un poquito de ti.
Bueno, mi nombre es Carolina Estupiñán, soy empresaria, me dedico a liderar empresa en el área de servicios y limpieza generales.
¿Y dónde están tus compañías?
Iniciamos en Colombia, después ampliamos operación en Estados Unidos y ahora en México.
¿Por qué decidiste poder irte a los diferentes países?
Bueno, cuando iniciamos en Colombia vimos la oportunidad de ir creciendo a nivel nacional y en el desarrollo de las estrategias de expansión decidimos abrir operación en Estados Unidos y de Estados Unidos volcamos a México.
Wow. Si alguien estuviera escuchando esto, es una mujer que quiere crecer su negocio, ya tiene varios empleados, ¿qué le dirías? ¿Cómo la motivarías para que le siga dando y siga creciendo sus operaciones?
Bueno, yo creo que lo primero es ser apasionado de lo que se hace. Cuando uno es apasionado de lo que se hace y ama lo que hace, nunca se ve como un trabajo y siempre lo va a ver motivante. Y que sí se puede. La verdad, las mujeres muchas veces creemos que hay un limitante, pero no es así. Sí, los sueños se cumplen y la verdad he sido abanderada y liderada de eso, de que se puede.
¿Cuál es la siguiente meta para tu compañía? Para que los que escuchen podamos apoyarte.
Seguir creciendo y sobre todo para nosotros lo importante es que nuestro mayor activo es el capital humano que tenemos nuestras personas.
Perfecto, muchas gracias. ¿Hay alguna otra cosa que le quieras decir a la gente que está escuchando?
Nada, que vivan apasionados de lo que hacen y que los sueños se cumplen. Depende de la actitud con lo que hagamos.
Muchas gracias.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner Podcast. I'm James Harper, and I'm with my gal Cindy from FieldBots. We're at ISSA Las Vegas 2023. Cindy, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, I was told by my typical co-host, Angel, he was like, hey, you have to talk to Cindy. She's in robotics. She's the gal to talk to. Tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I work for FieldBots, and FieldBots is an international robotics company. Technically, we are a software company, but we do partner with a bunch of robotics companies, and we sell the robots that they have through us as well. Our software company was created at first through our parent company, Feel, and they created the mowing robot software. So any mowing robots in the market, they would be the owners of the software. So based on that, we saw a demand on the vacuums, especially the ones that are residential cleaning, like the Roombas. So we had an idea of why not bring this robot to the commercial side of things and create a more powerful vacuum than the Roomba that doesn't have any cameras and is able to clean up to 3,000 square feet. So basically we created the software from the mowing robots, and now we have different partnerships with different robotics, such as one of them is Gashiums, and soon LionsBot as well. We're working with them as well on a partnership, and the Wiz as well. Our software is able to integrate all these robots in one app, and you can control all these robots through your phone. The robot is very smart. It would map the room while it's cleaning, and once it does that, on the app you can split rooms, rename rooms, and also you can add a bunch of different places in the app that you would manage as a building services contractor. So yeah, that's a little bit about us. And yeah, I'm Cindy. I'm based out of Florida. My company is based out of Germany. And right now at ISSA, I'm working with my sales agents at booth 1722. if you want to stop by and meet me.
Well, and then there's going to be some people that, one, if you are hearing this, you should stop by, but regardless, you should definitely check out FieldBots. I want to talk to you about, I just heard you have a conversation with a gentleman in cleaning.
Right.
And he was like, hey, I'm kind of worried that robotics won't work for our company. And there's this big debate in commercial cleaning that some people are all in on tech and robotics, and some people are like anti it.
Right.
I think there can be a good mixture of both and in between. What are your thoughts when you hear someone that's like anti-robotics? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, so most of the people that are anti-robotics, I've noticed the big companies that already have a strategy and have created unions and work with the unions are very concerned on taking the jobs of the people that are in the union because they are in a union, and you are going to have to pay if they are out of a job. But it's not like that when it comes to robotics. Robotics is actually helping your staff lay off on the work that they could be doing. For example, I have one of my customers that they mentioned, we were talking to them about cleaning, and they mentioned they had never cleaned kind of like the ceilings and the fans on the ceilings. So we asked them, okay, so why have you not cleaned those areas that are so important? Because the fans are always running, and they spread dust all over the building. And like they mentioned, they don't have time. But with robotics, you can have your staff focus on those areas that are critical, like cleaning up the filters of air filters, fans that they spread all this dust everywhere in the building, and the robots can focus on cleaning on the floors. So it would technically work with your staff, not take jobs from them. It'll be easier on your staff. You can also increase pay on the staff because now you have these robots helping them out. So you can definitely, they can have a better work-life balance, better pay. So I think it's just an innovation that will help your company and also your staff. So yeah, that's my take up on robotics.
I think that's a good take. I think that there's a good, healthy in between and all of that. And I think if anyone's listening right now, that we need to be innovative in the sense of understanding that the industry is always changing. And just because it's changing doesn't mean it's changing all to one thing, it's just changing. So Cindy, for people that are listening to this that want to follow up with you, that might hear this at a later date, what's a good way to get in contact with you? Our producer will link everything in the show notes, so you don't have to spell it out. But what's a good way people can follow up with you, learn more about FieldBots, and maybe have a conversation?
Yeah, so I would say I'm on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Cindy Moran, Moran, and thank you, James, for tagging me and putting all my information there. So feel free just to add me on LinkedIn, and we can connect, or just email me at Cindy, CINDY, MORAN at fieldbots.io. And yeah, we can have a conversation and help you on your cleaning strategy and automate your business, and help your staff automate any tasks that they would not be able to do if they don't have our new robots.
Awesome. If you guys are listening to this, hit up Cindy. She's very personable, very sweet. Yep. I can tell you that right off the jump. So, Cindy, thank you very much.
Thank you, James, for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. I'm your host, riding solo today. I'm James Harper, but I am at ISSA Las Vegas 2023. I'm with my man David from Corporate Cleaning Concepts Inc. David, thanks for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
So I was hearing you talk to USource, who I'm sharing a booth with, one of the sponsors of the show. Tell me a little bit about your company for people listening that might not know who you are.
Sure. So we are a family-owned commercial cleaning company. We've been in the business for nearly 40 years. I like to tell people that I was born into the business because my mother was pregnant with me when my father started the business. And it basically started with him knocking on doors, cleaning people's offices, and I watched him do it for years and years and years. And he had 1 or 2 helpers with him, and he did that, and it put food on the table, and it was good. And as he got older, he decided, well, I guess both my parents decided it was time to scale the business, get him out of there, working, actually doing the nitty-gritty, and start running a business. So that's what they did. And I come from a background of retail and corporate retail management, and I was looking to open my own business and spitballing with the fam, and I joined the family business, so with the intent to take over.
Nice.
So.
And how long has it been?
It's been about almost 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
So okay, I want to talk to you a little bit and learn a little bit more about your team.
Absolutely.
Team dynamic
Sure.
and setup. Just talk to me about how are you guys set up? Are you W-2 or are you subs?
We're all W-2.
Love it.
Don't use subs. Not that we really have anything against it, but we find that control is better with our own employees.
Sure.
We have supervisors, we have team leads, we have a general manager. I do a little bit of everything. My father does a little bit of everything, and when I say a little bit, as anybody in the cleaning industry knows in our position, a little bit is a lot of it.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Nice, man. So growing up in the business or being born into the business almost, now you're business partners with your parents.
Yes.
Talk to me about that dynamic. What's that look like from a personal level to a professional level?
It's blessings. It is a challenge, as anybody who works with their family will tell you, but the good outweighs whatever bad there is tenfold.
Sure.
I mean, there's not a lot of other people who get to build a business and their relationship with their family at the same time. So.
Nice. No
Yeah.
doubt about that. What? How many employees do you guys have roughly?
We have close to 40, a little bit over 40 now.
Nice, man. What are you guys doing to keep your employees engaged, build camaraderie?
So we have an annual meeting where we do, Employee of the Year. It's kind of hard in our field because there is a lot of turnover, unfortunately. A lot of things move. We lose contracts. Contracts change. They downsize, whatever. So people get shuffled around a lot in our business. We hate that. Our intent is to keep people with us forever. We hate losing anybody. But we have a team WhatsApp. We have a management WhatsApp that is pretty active. When there's positions open, when there's recognitions, everybody's in there.
Nice. So talk to me about what keeps you up at night as kind of this business partner, business owner. Someone in your shoes, what keeps you up at night worrying about the business? And I'm going to ask a follow-up once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Staffing. Staffing is huge. It's a challenge, and I'm usually the one who spearheads staffing. I'm very particular with who we hire. We are a family company, and we want people that fit with our family. I don't just hire anybody. They have to be presentable. They have to be able to speak to a client. If they're in the middle of cleaning late at night and somebody comes into the office, I want them to look presentable. I want them to be able to speak to them with a smile and be courteous. And that's pretty hard because, there's a very large pool of candidates to pick from, and it takes a very long time to weed through all of the candidates. So when we get a contract that lands and they want us to start like last week, I have to hustle, and I'm networking. We do everything we can to really recruit.
So that keeps you up at night. What gets you excited about the future of your business?
Oh, the growth. Yeah,
In what regards?
In the growth of both where we are in terms of staffing, like you know, we, again, like I said, it started as my father just cleaning people's offices.
Yeah.
You know, we have structures in place now. We have 40 plus staff members. We're licensed, we're insured. We use applications, you know, to keep track of our employees, our consumables, stuff like that. And, you know, in the last couple of years especially, we've grown exponentially. And every year we seem, you know, even though we're not feeling it, when we look at the numbers every year, we're surprised. And we look at them more than once a year, by the way. We have to. We try to do it once a month at a minimum. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to see the growth. And especially after watching my father for so many years as a one-man show.
So, a few personal questions here.
Absolutely.
No
Sure.
wrap up. So, I think I heard you say you have small children.
I do.
So, are you married?
I am.
Awesome. So, talk to me about being husband, father, business owner, and how you manage all of that.
So first I have to say that I learned from the best. I do have two terrific parents who were very active in my upbringing, and I try to do the same with my children. We all live pretty close together. I moved away out of school to go to school, and I was gone for almost 10 years. And I wound up moving back to my hometown where my parents live in the house that I grew up in.
Oh, cool.
And not only that, but my brother and his family decided to move back too.
Nice.
So, you know, his family's there, my family's there. So it's very important to us. Family is very important. Not only are we a family business, but we're a family that loves one another and that enjoys each other's company.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm sorry if that wasn't right to your
just
point.
Like, you know, I think a lot of people struggle with like work-life contention.
Oh man, it's hard. It's really hard.
And
it's not an easy thing.
I know a lot of people that listen to this show have spouses that are maybe not directly involved from a title standpoint in the business,
Right.
but ultimately your spouse is involved.
Yeah,
because
they
they're
have
doing
to
your
be.
shit.
Absolutely.
Right, so anytime I get a business owner that's so big on family, I always want to ask about the family dynamic.
Oh man, my wife can tell you things like I can tell you. She knows the ins and outs, just like I knew the ins and outs of my father and how he was running the business when I was a kid, because we're all connected in the family, and the business is a living, breathing part of the family.
Totally.
And it's kind of, you can't escape it. If you have that business, if you're a family-owned business especially, you cannot escape that.
So is the goal one day to pass this down to a third legacy?
I have no idea. That's up to my son or my daughter. I have two. And whether or not I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Nice.
So, you know, right now they each have their own play set.
Regardless, they were born into the business.
They were. Either way, they were born into the business. My son has 4 years of cleaning experience. My daughter has 2.
Awesome, man. Hey, last question for you here. We're at ISSA 2023. Viva Las Vegas. What's the one thing that surprised you or that's jumped out to you about being at this conference?
Just how many different roles there are in this industry.
In what regard?
In what regards? You have people who are brokers, people who are advocates, you have people who are doing podcasts, you have, I mean, you name it, there's somebody for for literally everything, and it all comes back to cleaning.
Yeah, the industry's so massive.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's unreal.
Massive.
David, so give a shout out to where people can find you, whether that's on LinkedIn, online.
Yeah,
Our producer will drop it in the show notes.
Absolutely. We're on Facebook, Corporate Cleaning Concepts, Inc. You can visit our website, www.corporatecleaningconcepts.com, or you can email me, David@yourcleaneroffice.com.
There you go. David, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.